you and motivate you. And today I have Adrian as my guest. Adrian.
Hi there. Hi there. Thanks
So
for having me.
Adrian, oh, you're welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. And we have actually found out that the world is pretty small because we have connections since before, which we didn't know. um, so Adrian is gonna talk a little bit about himself and what he has gone through, and how he has now used his past to do something to be able to help other people that are in the situation that he was before. So Adrian, please do tell us a little bit about you first.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, thanks for having me again. And yeah, it's really a small world. But yeah, I live here in Sweden, and tell you a little bit. My story is that I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter, and I also a couple of years ago I ended my 12 years. How many years was it? Yeah, I was a piano and a guitar teacher for 12 years. So a couple of years ago, and now I converted. I'm on a new path in my life that I'm now trying to help people with mental illness.
Right.
It's a big switch. Switch.
Yeah. Very big switch from music to
Yeah,
mental health. So, yeah.
I'm still doing music, but this is like my passion now to help other people. So
Right. So
yeah.
how come you made that switch from music to mental illness?
Well, I've always been into personal development, and like my mentor or guru, virtual guru, has always been Tony Robbins, and he literally saved my life when I was depressed as well. But what I saw a couple of years ago was this advertise going on Facebook all day long, and it was like, knowledge is the new thing, and you have to see this. We're coming with a new course. You have to see this live event with him and Dean Graziosi, and it's called the Knowledge Broker Blueprints. And do you know about it, Liana?
Yeah, I'm actually going that course too.
Yeah. All right. Okay. That's so great. That's so great. You see. So the course, as you know, is pretty much about taking your experience or your knowledge or your mess and turn it into a message for others. And I would never figure that out by myself. I was not even thinking about what to teach other people besides all that I know is music.
Right.
So at first I was like, well, maybe I should do some music videos with me in front of the piano and teaching like online, some online course. But eventually I decided hey, I think I want to help people in another way. And because I had my past, and yeah, it felt really weird at first because I'm not a psychologist or something. So
Yeah.
who the heck was going to listen to me? But yeah, that's how it went.
Oh, that's great. So, I mean, I'm guessing that you had problems yourself that you got out of to be
Yeah,
able to feel that. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
yeah, of course, of course. I was severely depressed for about 5 years, and in a really deep depression. And I was like, I was suicidal, and I was seeing a psychiatrist for like 2 or 3 years, and I was prescribed drug, and it was a tough journey, but that this is who I am. This will not define me. There was a way out. So my psychiatrist literally helped me, and the drugs helped me preventing to, you know,
Go too
yeah,
far.
yeah, to
Yeah.
exactly, to go too far. Turning point, I think, was because I was seeing this psychiatrist and she was great, but it was like I didn't feel I was happy. I was like, I was doing okay. And it was like, there's more to this. I don't want to be in this, like, in the middle of, and because I was taking these drugs as well, I was what I call zombified. I was numbed. I wasn't feeling
Right.
like very much happiness or very sadness. So
Yeah.
I was like in the middle. So I was like, there's something else there. I have to find it. So I had to Google, as we do these days, and I started to go online and searching for all kind of material and videos. And I bumped into Tony Robbins,
Yeah.
and he literally kicked my ass. and that was like, there was no like sugarcoating there. It wasn't like,
No.
oh, you know, you go to a psychiatrist and I understand, and if you feel like this, you can think like this. It was like, hey, if you have a problem, it's your responsibility to take care of it. Okay?
Right.
So it's not for everybody. I know that, but that was like the turning point for me when I listened to Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. He's like very brutally honest.
Yeah,
Let's say.
yeah,
Yeah, and sometimes I mean it's different for everyone. Sometimes people need that hard honesty, and others kind of, need to have it packed in a perfect little to be
yeah,
able to take the information, right?
yeah.
Um, so I know that you have what you have going on, but do you want to tell a bit about what you have, how your message has turned out to be for the moment?
Yeah, so I'm working on this. I'm creating this online course now. It's a big course. It turned out to be, and it takes a lot of time and a lot more time than I thought it would be. So I'm not done to launch. So, but yeah, it's a mix of what helped me, because I think that's the most important thing. To share with people, but also insights that I got after I got out of depression. Because I mean, life is an ongoing process. Whether you're depressed or not, it's an ongoing process, and you learn things all the time. So
Yeah.
I wish I had the knowledge that I know now, because I wouldn't fall into depression if I knew what I know today.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, it's a mix of a lot of strategies and tools from me, from Tony, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm just, if we just back up a little bit, because I mean, people that aren't depressed or don't know, I mean, how did you realize that you were depressed? I mean, other than having those thoughts about not feeling enough, I mean, is there another way to kind of find or see that you're heading that way before it's like gets too far on?
That's a good question, because I think it's different for everybody,
Hmm.
but I think there is like fundamental things that makes it lean towards depression. So if you feel certain way, uh, but I think that I started to. I mean, it's tough. This was a tough one, because yeah, sadness is one thing, but anger towards others and towards myself, and neglecting myself, and talking shit about myself in here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just pulling me down, and but I think the main feelings and thoughts were like that I had a beautiful wife, I had kids, I had a job, I had everything, but I couldn't appreciate anything.
Right.
Nothing made me happy. So that was like a big sign for me that if put on the greatest comedy of all times, I wouldn't laugh because I couldn't see joy in things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so I mean, I think it's very hard to understand for a person that hasn't really been there. I mean, everyone has its moments, of course, of feeling down and talking shit about yourself and, kind of like digging deeper the hole that you're in.
Yeah.
I think everyone does that once in a while. But what was it that has helped you the most to kind of get out of that hole or that situation?
I think two things. I think because I mentioned when I saw Tony speak, it was, I mean, the most important thing that I also will be teaching in this course is like you have to believe, because
Yeah.
I can provide you with the tools that will work. Not only my tools, but like I would provide you with all kinds of tools that I know would help you. But if you don't believe in them, nothing will happen.
Right.
So changing the belief that it's possible, that's like then
That's
you
number
have
one.
it's number one, and you're 50% done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that's with everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it's about it. As long as you believe, you
Yeah.
go pretty far, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess that's also part of, starting your own business as well, to believe in yourself and not
Exactly.
to let that little devil talk to you.
Yeah.
Like,
The one right there. Yeah.
So that, yeah, of course. But thinking about, I know that I have heard a lot of people about that are depressed about the drugs and how, like you said, that they feel numb, they don't feel anything. How does, I mean, how did you get rid of that? Because I guess that you avoid drugs now, or
Oh yes.
yeah.
But these days there are other drugs to take. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, just kidding. No, no, I didn't want to take the drugs in the beginning, but but as I said, it literally saved my life, because it wasn't only for the depression; it was for the panic attacks and everything. But I think that I pressed myself, and I wanted to like lower the dose all the time, but my psychiatrist was like, no, wait a minute. But it wasn't. So I mean, I haven't had any of those drugs for years. I mean, I'm not depressed anymore. So but it was a big relief. It was like watching outside the window and like see the sun again, and like, hey, there's sun. Maybe
Yeah.
I could put a smile on my face.
Right.
It was really relieving.
It's so hard to, like, imagine to have that, from being not feeling anything to all of the sudden start feeling happiness and feeling the joy and seeing the beauty in things.
Yeah.
And that's why I invited you here, because I love the fact that you have taken, you have already gone through this and you have found ways that helped you, and that now you want to help others do the same. And I think it's so important, especially now with the whole pandemic. I know how the numbers have increased on depression, because people are losing their job, because people don't get to meet others, because the whole society has been turned upside down. So this might sound really strange, but it's a great moment to get out there with a course like this,
Yeah.
because I do believe that there are so many people needing it. But it's also to bring awareness to others that haven't, that don't really know what a real depression is. Because one thing is, I mean, if I do a course like this, it wouldn't be the same thing, because I have no clue about it. I have never gone through that. But like you said, I mean, I don't believe that a psychologist is the right person either if they don't haven't gone through that themselves, right?
Exactly.
So it's, what's the best way to get help if not from someone that has already gone through it and knows how to get out of it. So that's great. So tell us a bit about the course. How have you planned it out?
Well, I mean, first of all, when it comes to this topic, you have to be extremely careful how you put things and what you say and what you don't say. So it's not like me just going, wow, everything that I want to share.
Right.
So first of all, I'm like, yes, I'm talking about the drugs, I'm talking about the meds, and I'm talking about even that the side effects of taking drugs can be that you become even more suicidal. And that's just like crazy. So in the course, when it comes to that thing, I am like really, really careful, and I will never, never, never recommend anything that you should not take drugs or anything. But what I'm emphasizing is like there is a cause, because in the early days, like 20, 30 years ago, we were told that, hey, if you're depressed, you have a chemical imbalance in your brain. Here, take some drugs, it will be okay. But as you said, with the pandemic, or we have like 350 million people around the world depressed right now, and I don't think they're having an imbalance in the chemical imbalance in the brain, because there is always a cause to why you're depressed, right?
Yeah.
And it's not for me to tell people why they are depressed in the course. I'm just trying to like let them figure out by themselves.
Right.
But also provide them with the knowledge of how the brain works. Not only the tools and strategies, but the fundamental. How is the brain actually working for you or against you?
Right.
Or both? Yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but
no, yes, of course. No, it's just good to know, so people know, like, if they're interested to know a bit how a little bit about the processing of the course. But I know I love reading a lot about the body and the mind and how everything works. Do you have any authors that you love reading that have actually helped you to the state that you are today?
That was a good question. Well, today I have a lot. Back then I didn't have so much, but I had Tony.
Yeah.
But I think I think I've also, after being depressed, I also started to realize the balance in life. That because I have a section in the course that it's called Vitality. And it's the basic fundamental things for us to feel well. It's like, how do you sleep? What do you eat? Do you move at all? And so on. How are you taking care of your soul and your body? So, I mean, if you're going to go on a journey, a recovery journey, like get out of depression, and you start to apply all these tools, how you should think or not think and everything, if you don't feel like you have the strength,
Right.
it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough journey.
Yeah.
So it's a balance of everything, I think.
Yeah. So you kind of start with a bit of a holistic, way of getting you back, because that's kind of what holistic is. You to think about the balance in everything, about body and mind connection, and what you eat and how much you move and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was actually reading I'm reading a book right now that talks a lot about separating yourself. That you have yourself, and then you have your ego, and how much the ego actually is in the way for ourselves. How the ego is the one that wants to discuss things and wants to be right all the time. And it's actually quite fascinating because the ego is also the part that that sets you down, like says that you're not enough, or you're not capable of doing this or stuff like that. And how to actually kind of wake up and realize that the ego is separate from yourself. It's just like your mind playing games with you.
Exactly.
And things that have happened in the past as well.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty interesting to bring that concept up. I don't know how much have you read about, separating yourself from the ego and trying to see yourself as separated from it.
I think it's like you said, it's like an ongoing process all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that I started to, because just a couple of months ago, I became an NLP practitioner and a life coach, and I was studying these things a lot. And you're so right, because this is like, and it's actually the first section of the course where I'm talking about this.
Right.
Understanding the brain, and understanding that you don't have to listen to your thoughts all the time, and you and you have something in the center of your brain that is called amygdala, that it's always trying to protect you from everything, and make stuff up that aren't real.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm talking about that in the course a lot, and the fact that we also, I mean, I wouldn't be disrespectful to anybody that is depressed, but if I say like this, most of people do know what to do, because living, I mean, we can go online now and we can Google things. We can get pretty much all the answers we want if we have a problem.
Right.
So, and we know common sense, and we know that if you're depressed, we know that you should maybe exercise in some way. Maybe you should take care of your body in a certain way. Maybe you should, and so on. But it's the, they call it the knowledge action gap. Mm-hmm. It's like we know what to do, but we don't do it.
Right.
And that thing is, I think that's so. And there is and I can tell you this, in the course I will talk about the Mel Robbins. Did you hear about her?
What about what exactly?
No. Did you hear her the name Mel Robbins?
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and she's not a relative to Tony Robbins.
No.
I know that, but she's actually talking about this 5-second rule that is so cool, because when we are trying to do things we know we should do, something happens and we start to hesitate, and it's like the alarm goes off and we should go off out of bed, but we don't, because it's so nice in bed. But we should go for that walk because we will feel. We don't, because it's so cozy in the sofa, and so on.
Right.
So when we hesitate, we have this like 5-second rule. She is talking about this, and it's like our amygdala is telling us that, wait a minute, you're hesitating. Something must be wrong, because just a second ago when you were putting on your socks, you weren't hesitating. So something must be up. And that's when the battle starts.
Yeah.
And if you apply this 5-second rule and you count down from 5 to 1,
mm-hmm.
and you just do it, what you do, you interrupt your habitual pattern in the brain.
Right.
So it will go from like your amygdala to your prefrontal cortex, and you're conscious about it, and you can take action. And
Yeah.
that really works. I don't know if it was too much details now, but
No, no, it's great. I mean, and it's a good tip also for, I mean, for anything, actually. Like you said, I mean, just go up from bed. Like people are like, oh no, why? But it
yeah,
does work. I mean, just count down from 5 to 1 and you are up.
yeah,
I mean, I know there are people that that can say like, Liana, how can you wake up so early when you don't have to? Because usually sometimes I wake up like an hour earlier than I have actually to go up, just because I want my own time. I want to do my meditation or train or whatever. And I'm not saying it's easy, because I love sleeping. I mean, I could sleep to 12.
yeah.
But it's like, you know, so it does work. I have done it many times.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Have you thought, I mean, if you had the knowledge that you have today, would you have gone in that situation of depression?
I think I would tackle it in another way, definitely. But because there is a cause for everyone that has depression, I had a cause,
Yeah.
and I had my reasons. So I had a big emotional, crappy luggage from my childhood that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
So whether I know what I don't know today or not, I would
Yeah.
have to deal with it. But maybe I would deal it in another way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, reading all these books about the ego and about mindfulness and, you know, being more conscious and holistic living and all these things, it kind of makes me question, I mean, why don't we actually have this implemented in the school system? Because like you said, I mean, many people that suffer for whether it is depression or eating disorder or anything like that, it has a background. There's always something there.
Yeah.
But if you actually learn to manage your mind early, I do believe that either we can, you know, press down the numbers, or maybe not get in a situation that gets you too far, like with the eating disorder part. So, I mean, I believe it's like part of us, like coaches, that is part of us, that we have to serve other people to provide that information early.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you had kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, like I said, things are different, but how much of the things that you have learned are you trying to teach your children? And not teach like, you know, sitting down at this is how you're supposed to do, but like kind of implement it in your normal life, like parents, or just, you know, how you talk or think, or have you implemented a lot of that in your family?
Not at all. They're actually depressed all the now. I'm just kidding. all three kids are depressed now. No, no, but to answer, yes, a lot, and yeah, and it's like it's so much. I mean, both me and my wife, we are like training ourselves how we talk, and we are trying to apply it on our kids as well, which is a little bit harder sometimes.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'm so happy that I'm so grateful that I know what I know today, and I know that it works. I know that what you focus on, you will feel, and so on. What you tell yourself, and that the brain can't see the differ between it. If you say don't, it doesn't get it, because
yeah, yeah,
so we're trying to talk with our kids, and like, and it's about also not only the focus and the thinking, but also the manifestations. I mean, how you, I don't know if you have seen the Secret, the law of
Yeah.
attraction.
Yeah.
That's something that we really are like training our kids to think about.
Yeah, that's great. Have you seen the movie? I mean, not the like the documentary movie, but the movie, The Secret.
Is that the new one with Katie Holmes?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but the rest of the family have seen it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, because I do believe, I mean, for that's a great movie to start with, because I think like the real secret, the one that the book is based on, is a lot to take in. So if you're not really there yet, the movie that is, I think, is from last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's really good because it really does, uh, kind of show you that whatever the focus goes is where the energy goes, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's great, and I love to hear that about you kind of implementing that in your family. How what you have learned, you're teaching it forward in your own family, because I mean it's the same here. There are so many things that I didn't know when I was little that I have taught my children. Um, and it's a great way to bring up a new generation with a whole other foundation than
Yeah,
what we had.
exactly.
And hopefully they will be able to teach people even better other things that we might not be aware of yet. So that's great.
What if they had that like 1 hour a week at school?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it would be, I do believe it would be needed. And like I was a teacher for, or I have had dance classes. So I kind of implemented a bit about gratitude. So we always started or finished up with like, okay, what are you grateful for?
Great.
And loved it. And it was just, because at the beginning they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're happy that it's Friday, or maybe you're happy because you're having candy on Saturday, or the sun is
Exactly.
shining. Um,
Exactly.
and how everything kind of, it got more and more emotional the more we went, for every class. There was like a girl actually said, I'm happy and grateful that my grandma is okay because she was actually sick last week.
Yeah.
So when they actually start understanding the meaning of it, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. And that's such a big step for, because to be honest, I'm having one video in the course that is about gratefulness, in gratitude, and it's like, because I know when I was in deep shit myself, I know that I was like, what the heck? What can I be grateful for? I'm sitting here and I'm like suicidal, and I just want to kill myself. And you're talking about being grateful for what? So
yeah.
I know it's so far away when you're depressed to have those kind of thoughts. But if you only start to train those thoughts little by little, it
Yeah.
makes all the difference.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you seem to have the whole package, and it's not only to get like rid of the depression, or to find out what's the problem. It's also to have good habits in
Yeah.
front of you, right? And have that, like you said, the balance, what you eat, how you sleep, and everything as well.
Yeah.
um I love that. um is there anything in particular that you want to share with people that are depressed right now? Um,
Well, don't be so hard on yourself. That's the first thing. Don't be so hard on yourself. And as I started by saying, to believe
yeah,
that there's a way out, and that I think many people that are depressed, because it's such a major problem, it requires a major solution. And that's not always the case, or it's rarely the case, because it's about those small steps. Because when you are severe depressed, it feels like this is going to take a long time to heal. I'm so far away. I'm so out of track.
Yeah.
But it's basically these minor baby steps every day, just to change something, a little thing each day, and see that progress, because that will start to build up self-confidence and everything. It will start to build you up.
Yeah.
So what I would say is, because I think that many people are like feeling defeated, but they're like sitting and I don't know what to do, and they are seeking every kind of help, and they think that I need a big solution on this. But just to start doing this fundamental things, as go for a walk. Try to go for a walk just 5 minutes and see how you feel.
Yeah.
And do it again tomorrow and see how that feels. And like maybe go 10 minutes earlier this day. Just small. Take a shower, because I know how depressed people they are. They're maybe not showering. They're not taking care of themselves, and eating junk food and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's complex, but it's not complex at the same time. Because
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, like you said, baby steps, but those baby steps can be pretty big for someone that doesn't even care to, do anything. Right. Is there anything, I mean, if someone is listening and has someone around them that is depressed, is there anything that another person can do for someone to kind of raise them up or help them in any way?
I will talk with my wife. I'm back in 5 minutes. That's a good question, and because my wife we're actually doing this like together, and she's helping me out with this, because maybe the course 2.0 will be from her perspective,
Right.
to be a relative or something.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. But for me personally, I have apologized a lot of times towards my wife, but when she was trying to help me, I didn't take it that way.
Yeah.
Because she took care of me. She wanted to advise me of go for a walk, go out to the woods, to the nature, hug a tree, or
Yeah.
something. But I think that because it's so close, because it's my wife, I was like, don't tell me what I'm supposed to do, because I know you don't know how I have it, and so it's
Right.
like I became very defensive at first.
Yeah.
So it's a tough question to answer, but I think it comes to anything in life, because if you would hear something from your mother or father, maybe you would be like, oh, come on, leave me alone. And then your best friend did the same thing, and you're like, hell yes, I will do this.
Yeah. No, totally. And I understand that. And like you said, that you're more defensive, especially if it's someone that hasn't even gone through it, or, that you might feel, but hey, you don't understand my point of view, so you can't really say anything about it.
Exactly.
I was just thinking if there might be something that kind of can help someone, or see a little stream of light somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this. Yeah, that wasn't so supportive. But I think it's, and that's like a cliche to say, but to listen, just to listen. because no matter what kind of problems we have, we go to our best friend, and it always feels better afterward because they listen.
Yeah.
They don't have to have the solution on the problem, but they listen, and it feels better. So I don't know if it's like sounds a little bit cliche, but it's really important to have someone listening.
Yeah.
And to have like a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. And that's for anything, I believe. So about the course before we round up,
Yeah.
Can you take the course anytime, or do you have any specific time that it's getting started, or how does that work?
Yeah. Well, it's in the making still, and I'm still like writing the sort of script, if you say so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will record it here in my studio. So I'm like, within 2 months, it's out, I can say.
Yeah.
But it will be at themastermind.com, you know, the knowledge broker. Yeah. So it will be a course for anyone to purchase, and it will be a lifetime access
Great.
to the course. And it's not like everything is pre-recorded.
Mm-hmm.
You take it in that pace that you like.
Right. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So we can just, I don't know, maybe we can put a link later on when the course is actually out, so people can go and check it out.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you want to say before we round up?
Just to, I mean, if someone is listening that is depressed, if they just knew that there's a way out, be gentle to yourself and take small steps each day,
Yeah.
and reward yourself for the small steps each day.
Yeah. That's great. Adrian, thank you so much for today. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy that, like I said, that you're actually releasing this, because I know there are a lot of people out there that need it, whether it is because Corona or something before. We all need that extra push and help in any way. So thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for sharing your story and putting yourself out there. I mean, how many people haven't gone through something bad, but then that's, it kind of stops there and they just continue living their life. You're actually trying to help other people to get out of that situation also. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I will put the link later on when the course is out, and I will repost it on YouTube and on Facebook and even Instagram if you follow me there. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later. Take care.